Hello, and welcome to the Lost Archives. My name's Owen. Thank you for joining us for our session 0 for Avatar Legends, the role-playing game, which is basically Avatar, The Last Airbender, but in D&D. And you'll see some faces around me. Look at all these faces. Look, there's a face there, there's a face there. Look at all these friendly faces. This campaign is not about me. It's about these lovely players who are going to be joining me each and every Monday to play some Avatar The Last Airbender with me. So we should probably introduce each of these lovely people. Let's start off with my fellow streamers. Bree, would you like to introduce yourself and the character that you're playing super briefly?
My name is Bree /Pixel, and I'm playing Shurva. She is from the Fire Nation and she's a badass.
She's a badass, absolutely. That's a really great summary of Shurva. Andrew, would you like to introduce yourself and your character?
I'm Andrew, also go by Lucifer. I'm playing a firebender that goes by Mako Bao.
Mako Bao. Is that because you like to make a lot of bao, or?
Sure, let's go with that.
Sweet, easy peasy. Ali, would you like to introduce yourself and your character?
Hello, I'm Ali, and I'm playing Oki of the Northern Water Tribe, a girl who's out to fight the patriarchy.
Fight the patriarchy, and that's why for this you have a male dungeon master who basically controls and describes everything you see and do in the game. Excellent. I see no contradictions here. No comment. Brandon, would you like to introduce yourself and your character?
Hello, everyone. I'm playing Rung Bolo. He's an earthbender from the town of Lai Wowo. He's a stubborn dude, I think. We'll find out together.
Very nice. And last, but certainly not least, fan favorite Dave. Welcome back to the Lost Archives.
Fan favorite? That's cool. I will be playing Monk Al, the airbender from the northern temple, and he's bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to spread the values of the air nomads to the world.
Absolutely. So, for those of you who don't know anything about this particular RPG, Avatar Legends is a brand new RPG that has just recently been released by Magpie Games. It's based on the Apocalypse series of RPGs. I mean, very fitting, given that Avatar The Last Airbender often does deal with quite apocalyptic scenarios. You have a lot of freedom in where and when you want to play with this game. Obviously, the world of Avatar is a very vibrant universe full of crazy characters, amazing places, and zany creatures. So there's a lot of different regions of time and regions of the map that you get to play in with this. So there's, I know there's a few people who've been looking at some of the early stuff, looking at Avatar 1, the very first Avatar, right up until Korra's era, which is the new series, Legend of Korra. We're actually going to be having our campaign take place just before Avatar Aang's era, before the 100-Year War, right before the Fire Nation attack, and right after the era of Avatar Roku. In fact, only a week after the death, I think it's 2 weeks after the death of Avatar Roku, is when our campaign is actually going to be starting. So we're sort of in a bit of an interim period between two of the listed times when you can set your campaign, but that's about right for us. We like to play it crazy, fast and loose here. Really cool Kickstarter for this was organized. So if you want to get on board, I still think you can do late pledges. If you enjoy this, if you want to check it out. We have never played the system before. This is our session 0, so if you're wondering why we're not getting into a full campaign straight away, it's because this is session 0. This is behind the scenes. We're just getting to learn the system. We've only just made our characters within the last 30 seconds before pressing record and starting the stream. So we're all going to be learning together. So I think we should do a little bit of a story recap. How does that sound to everybody? Just to get into the idea of the world, give us a bit of an idea about where we are. So, the world is changing. Over the past 2 weeks, a new comet has appeared in the sky, which grows larger every day. With the sudden death of Avatar Roku to a volcanic eruption, the nations of the world have organized a meeting of diplomats, military leaders, and politicians to come together and discuss these troubling matters. A large estate just outside of Ba Sing Se is the site for these meetings. The Beifong family generously donating their house and land to the delegates for this historic summit. You, the players around me, are the children and family of these delegates. While your significant others have been taking part in endless meetings, you have been pretty much left to spend your time with the other family members. While still getting to know these other people, you have been finding that despite your differences, there is still common ground. This is how it has been going for 3 days. You have had not a lot of time to interact with the other people, just passing meetings, formal dinners, where, like at most of these sort of events in our world, the families, the important people are sat around one table and the kids are at the kid table. That has been happening. The Beifong family are pretty big on that style of dining where the tables are arranged in the grand hall from most important people at the front near the hearth to the least important near the back. You, as the family members, have been separated from your family and sat around a table, a mix of all the nations represented. Airbenders, earthbenders, firebenders, waterbenders, and skillbenders, as we're calling Bree. That's it. So we have a bit of an opportunity for each of you to describe your characters as the others would have seen you. You know each other's names in passing. You might not know them 100%, but you would have a rough idea of each other's names at this point of the campaign, having met each other once or twice and been formally introduced by the hosts. One other thing I should point out is that at all times at this meeting, there is a large presence of the Dai Li. These quite sinister-looking figures wearing long, dark green robes with the symbol of the Earth Nation, the large stone circle in green in their center, and these very large hats that cover part of their faces, and they keep their hands together underneath these large sleeves and cuffs. There is quite a large presence of Dai Li at all times. There's not really an opportunity to be alone or away from them. Even in your private chambers, there is always 1 or 2 members of this group standing guard. You've been assured that it's for your protection, but I would say each of you have been feeling slight unease at their presence, never catching them, but always feeling that watchful eye, the prickling on the back of your neck, as you know eyes, potentially unfriendly, are watching your every move. The other standout is a large military presence from the Fire Nation. The Fire Nation have travelled by a massive metal steamship, something that you've not really seen before, those of you who are not members of the Fire Nation. Essentially an ironclad, these massive sheet metal platings, and it has actually travelled up the river through the breach and parked not too far from the Beifong estate. And there are quite a large number of Fire Nation soldiers, a mixture of firebenders and weapons masters from the Fire Nation, keeping guard as an honorary member of protection, as they have claimed, as well as patrolling the lands around. So, what I will get each of you to do, one by one, we're going to go around. I would like you to describe what your character looks like a little bit. Doesn't have to be too much information, just a little bit about what your character might look like, what sort of distinguishing features they might have, what items or equipment they might carry that would stand them out and show them off and make them very obvious to people. The sort of stuff that you would see if you were to sit at a table and look at your character for a dinner or a lunch or something like that. So we'll start with Ali, because I think Ali has probably planned out like exactly the history of your clothes, how they were made and things like that. I thought so. Would you like to introduce Oki to us and tell us a little bit about Oki, what people would see when they see Oki? And then what we'll do as well is if you could introduce the handbook that you're playing as. So rather than classes, Avatar RPG uses a mixture of bending technique, nation that you're from, or your combat style, as well as a thing called a handbook, which is kind of a mix between personality traits, background, and it gives you some moves as well. So it's kind of a mix of backgrounds and classes if you're used to playing D&D. So yeah, Ali, if you could give us your what Oki looks like, give us a little bit about the handbook, and then we'll move on to the next person.
All right, so Oki is your very typical 18-year-old waterbender from the Northern Water Tribe. You know, she grew up, surrounded by the big walls of the Northern Water Tribe city. She learnt to heal from a young age, as all young waterbending females do. But she wasn't too keen on that, so she has gone out and decided to learn a little bit more on the combat. She's got dark tan skin, like many do from that area. She's got a sort of just a nice mid-brown hair that's half up, half down, and she's got those little hair loopies because I think they're really, really cool.
Is that what we're calling them officially?
They're officially hair loopies.
Yeah, your hair
But
loopies.
she's wearing a mix of teal and light blue trimmed with white fur.
Mhm.
And she's always carrying her canoe paddle with her. It's a bit of her touchstone. Yeah, she's very rarely seen without the paddle or without her fluffy otter fox friend, Balto.
Absolutely. So you've taken the handbook of the bold, correct?
The bold I have.
Yes.
I've taken on the bold, which is a handbook that's sort of as far as I'm aware, the handbook that's sort of about forging your own path and doing great deeds that, you know, sort of make you go, yeah, I'm someone. Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
I'm forging my own path. I'm doing my own thing.
If we were to classify
that
one of the
is very
characters
much-
from the... Oh, sorry, you go.
Oops, sorry. I was just gonna say that's very much who Oki is.
I was going to say, if we were going to classify one of the characters from the show, who would be the bold? I think probably Cora would be a really good example of the bold, trying to do things her own way, forge her own destiny, forge her own path. And the Otter Fox is your companion, a little bit like the fire ferret that... I can't remember the name
Owen.
of... Bolin, thank you, that Bolin has. Yeah, so the bold comes with a little furry animal companion. Not necessarily furry, I shouldn't say that. Little animal companion that can do things for you and has special moves as well. So yeah, that's you've got your... did you say Otter Fox?
Otter fox.
That's
It's
fantastic.
Otter crossed with an Arctic fox, so it's sort of white and tan, maybe a bit of like a husky kind of coloring.
I cannot wait to see the artwork for that. I imagine it's going to be fantastic.
He is cute.
Alrighty. Let's go to Brandon.
All right. So
Alright.
still trying to get this name right. This voice. That's too American. We'll figure it out. Anyway, so
The Boulder.
Wrong
You can do
boulder.
American. Remember that there's precedent
the
for that.
boulder.
The Boulder.
Brilliant! I can do anything. So Rung Bolo, he's a rather sort of a stout, boisterous man from the Fire Nation. How with age range can we go? Like 18, 19, around there
Yeah,
sort of thing?
absolutely.
So-
Yeah, I reckon let's go up to
Hell
like
yeah.
21, 22.
Perfect. I'm gonna say he's like, you know, he's late 19. He's on the way to becoming more of a man than he was before. But looking at Rung, he wears like, you know, sort of like Earth Nation sort of garb, like the sort of long flowing tan, brown, sort of like, you know, sort of shirt. Forget the linen. Let's go with linen. Nice green chops on the side, like your picture in the sort of show. But he has like long black hair that's always tied up to like a nice high, long sort of ponytail sticks out the back. It's kind of perfect for him. He's got a nice big hairpin in there, a little toji. Always wearing that, no matter what it is. He would never lose that little hairpin that's on him. Kind of works out well, his long black hair like that, because the town he's from, Wailolo, is a coal mining town, so it just helps hide the coal dust in there for him. You shake it out over the long day. But he's sort of spruced himself up a little bit more for this occasion, and he always wears like a bit of a vest, so his arms are a bit crossed like that, showing off his biceps, making sure people know he works hard for a living. But he's just sitting there in the corner, sitting down watching everyone right now. And that'd
Absolutely. Love it. And what handbook are you playing, Brandon?
be right. He is a guardian. This guy.
Guardian. Okay. So I don't think you haven't picked your ward yet, have you?
No, I'm
Cool.
still
No.
yet to find someone
Awesome.
worth protecting. So
Savage. I like it. Maybe you'll find one among these pieces of scum around us. So essentially, the Guardian. Welcome to the Lost Archives, Bree. Essentially, the Guardian's style is to have someone that they are protecting, someone that they're looking after, someone that they're watching over. I'm trying to think of who a good representative that would be from the show. Maybe Iroh with Zuko for parts of book 2 and 3.
I can see Iroh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was trying to think of, is there anyone else you guys can think of who'd be a good protector? That's the main one.
Soccer.
Who?
Yes,
Soccer.
That's a great example.
Oh, Sokka. Yeah,
He's
Sokka
always
and
protecting
Katara.
Katara.
100%. Yeah, apologies. That's the really obvious one.
And then he
Um,
takes Aang into that protection as well.
Yeah. And I suspect probably he wants to take Toph into that protection, that last scene on the airship. It's a tender moment. Yeah, tries, but Toph's too fucking tough for him.
She's too bold.
that's Too bold. Yeah. That's a really good point. Yeah, it's actually Toph's another really good representative of the bold, I'd say as well. Or the successor. But we'll get to that later. Spoilers. Yeah, really cool. That'll be a lot of fun, the Guardian. Alrighty, who would like to go next? I chose these two first, Ali and Brandon, because I knew they had done a fair bit of prep. Does anyone else want to jump in? Does anyone else have a fair idea about what their character might look like? Andrew, I can see you wriggling on your chair, smiling. Come on,
He's
Andrew.
doing
let's...
that thing of like, please don't
I'm
call
ready.
on me,
I'm
Professor.
ready. Yeah,
I
just
don't
don't call on
know.
me.
Like,
What Andrew
I'm not
doesn't
here.
realize... What Andrew doesn't realize is that's basically like a magnet for me. I'm
Oh, it is.
100% going to call on that every time.
No, I've figured mine out.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, please introduce
Sort
your
of,
character. Sort of. That's okay. It can
So,
change between this session and the next
it's
session.
like
This is session 0.
Yeah. Medium height, black haired, well dressed, but with patches of like armor going through the formal dress, so to speak,
Mhm.
with a very decorative sword at the side. You can tell by just the hilt and the handle. They are the idealist, so there's not too much, like nothing else accompanying them. But yeah, medium height.
Yeah, absolutely.
Privilege.
Any distinctive I mean, obviously the one that springs to mind is scars because of Zuko, but you don't necessarily have to have like a burned eye or anything like that. Just that's the one that sprang
Not-
to mind.
Not that would be visible at the moment.
Cool. And you said you have a decorative sword, I think, correct?
Decorative sword, yes.
Yeah, nice. So is that describe that a little bit for us? Is it like a
So-
silver black blade? Is it? Yeah. Tell us a bit more about it.
It's black sheathed,
Hmm?
see, yeah, with a gold encrusted handle and a gem that I haven't decided on at the butt of it.
Got to be a ruby, right?
Maybe not.
Okay, I'm excited. That'll be really cool.
Yep.
So the icon handbook. You basically, the way it sort of is described is you are an epitome or a representation of your burden and tradition. Essentially, you are. So have you picked? Did you want to be like the icon of the Firebending Nation? Did you want to be the icon of your family, of a religion, of another group? I was just thinking. I know that the Sun Warriors are still fairly secret at this point in the history. Did you want to secretly be affiliated with the Sun Warriors? Just occurred to me then.
That would be awesome.
Sweetness, cool. Then we won't say too much more about it. That would
Cool.
be okay. Cool. Yeah, that would actually be. Oh, I said cool, and my phone has activated Google, who's now asking me questions. That is hilarious. Good to know that she's always listening.
Google's just like, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
No doubt.
Fantastic. Well, Bree, you're next to Andrew on my screen anyway. Do you want to introduce your character? Tell us a bit about your character.
Sure. Shurva is of the Fire Nation. She is kind of like she's taken the Guardian, and she is basically sworn to protect Mako, whether he likes it or not.
Perfect.
Finding where he's hiding, tracking him down across the city, basically keeping tabs on him. So she wears the formal guard attire. She's only 16, but she has inherited that from her family. Her entire family has served the Fire Nation as essentially bodyguards to the privileged. And around her wrist is a burned and tattered piece of red cloth.
Really cool. I like that a lot.
And she
So
has
you're,
the typical dark brown hair, pale skin.
Yeah. Now you're the only non-bender in the group.
Yes.
So that's something we should point out really quickly. Everyone is playing a bender from their particular nation, but you are not playing a bender. You are playing a warrior. Did you say what weapon that you are a master of?
I am the master of the whip. So I have a whip tied around itself, looped and attached to my belt.
And is this whip sort of like just a single stretch of leather? Does it have a couple of different tassels at the end for like extra whipping power? Are there like blades tied to it at the end? Super dark.
It's a single stretch of black leather. The handle has red twine around it, and on the end is one super sharp silver tip.
Ooh, fuck yes. I like that a lot.
Whip it good.
Whip it good. There's going to be someone's going to say chains and whips exciter at some point, I'm sure. Let's just get that out of the way now in session 0. We don't need to say any of those jokes. We've done them. Yay! No, they'll happen anyway.
Excite me. Got to have a system.
Thank you. And finally, Dave is playing an airbender. Now, one of the main reasons I wanted to play in this time frame is so that we would have access to airbenders, because as all of you know, some shenanigans happen during the beginning of the Avatar The Last Airbender, right before the TV show kicks off. Spoilers, there are no airbenders left, so I really thought it would be cool to have some airbenders. So we are playing right before the eradication of the airbender people. Spoilers, Dave, sorry about this. But would you like to describe your character and tell us a little bit about
the sequel?
What was that, sorry?
He won't be in the sequel.
I think it is
right after this.
yeah. I think it's very possible. That you can survive because it's basically the time frame. Exactly, yeah. But I will say this now: all of you are dead by the time we get to the beginning of the TV show. I don't want to spoil it, but none of you have survived the 100 years.
So I play Monk Al. And that's spelled S-A-A-L.
That's right.
It's a silent S. Just he gets a bit annoyed when other people mispronounce that. He's a medium height, lean build, but like lean toned. So he's quite agile. He likes moving fast. He uses his airbending to really he just likes speed. And you can see that because he's also got this like restless energy in him all the time, where he's always fidgeting.
Okay.
A bit naive, a bit curious, a bit too friendly, doesn't understand personal space. So he's that friend that you have that's always just a bit too close and asking too many questions.
So tell us a bit more about your character, though, Dave.
Well, he's based on me, so so he wears a shell necklace. He's not sure what the shell is from, but it just intrigues his curiosity, so he carries it with him to nurture that. So he's grown up as an air nomad in a traditional sense, but he's also so curious into the new world and really just wanting to lead the air nomads into the world and get them to expand. As we know, that does not happen, but he's working really hard to do that.
Yeah, so you're kind of a little bit of a different breed of airbender, going against the tradition, going against the doctrine, and forging your own pathway. What playbook are you playing, Dave?
Yeah, so he embodies the bold playbook. So a sense of loyalty to the tradition, loyalty to the air nomads, the way of life, but also a confidence to lead them somewhere new as well. I also want to say that right now he's just doing his best to try and get close to the metal steamship that you mentioned the Fire Nation came in. And he's getting in a bit of trouble because, military ship, but he's like, how does this fly? There's no air, there's no wings.
I've got some good news. It doesn't fly. It's a sailing ship. They haven't quite got the...
Ship,
it's a steamship. Because...
And he's learned something. It's not flying.
Yeah. As I was going to say, as we all know, the flying ships are invented during the course of the Avatar: The Last Airbender show. So, unfortunately, there won't be any flying ships for this particular campaign.
Okay, he's very curious how it sails then without wind with the sails.
Yes, absolutely,
That's
I think we've discussed the bold playbook, haven't we? Yeah, so that's that all covered nicely. So yeah, fantastic. I think we've got a pretty good idea about each of our characters, who they are, what they're doing there. So let's jump in and do a little bit of a session. So it is currently the evening. You have been spending most of the day being introduced to various dignitaries, basically being asked to spend a lot of your time conversing, talking to, hobnobbing would probably be how Brandon's character might see it, with the other members of the political class who've arrived here. Brandon probably would have been the first one to arrive, being an earthbender. You probably would have been extended. Possibly your family has a connection or knows the Beifong family, so you might have been extended an invitation to arrive a day early. And then the rest of you would have been sort of trickling in after that. The air nomads arriving on 3 flying bison that have sort of landed in the main courtyard, and then the bison have been taken off to go spend some time in the stables with a number of other interesting animals. mostly some platypus horses, which is what seems to be the sort of main mounts in the stables for the Beifongs. The waterbender contingency would have arrived by sea as well, so I'd say that a number of larger sailing canoes, like wayfinding style canoes, have been docked up next to this massive firebenders, massive Fire Nation ironclad essentially that has docked up, and probably the wake from this ship almost sank one of your boats as it steamed past, spewing black smoke into the air, choking some members of the contingency, and probably setting the tone for how discussions with the Fire Nation are going at this point. And obviously, Andrew and Bree, your characters were on board that ship. Potentially, if you wanted to be looking over the edge or inside your cabins deep below, not really spending much time outdoors before you arrived at this location. But yeah, you've had a day essentially of being introduced to the various other dignitaries. You've met each other, you've met other politicians, and essentially at this point, as the dinner sort of wraps to a close, the food that is served is very typical Earthbender, Earth Nation fare. So there's lots of noodles, lots of fresh veggies, some stir-fry steamed veggies as well. Dave, are you be a vegetarian as a member of the Air Nation, or did you want to buck that tradition as well? And that's another one of your areas of rebellion.
Yeah, that's an area he's exploring. He's tempted. He hasn't
Okay.
tried the first. He hasn't committed the sin yet, but he's tempted to.
You see Dave's character. I'll just like pick up a bit of chicken with his chopstick, then put it back again, and they go like, no, I couldn't.
He's just inspecting it, like.
Yeah, looking around it. Yeah, but really like good hearty fare, good hearty, delicious food. Obviously, for the Fire Nation members, Andrew and Bree, it's not sort of a traditional spicy food which you've grown up with. It's quite bland to your taste buds, but passable as food goes. Better than the ship rations you've been existing on for the last little bit, anyway. And Oki, Ali, your character, probably your complaint with it would be that it's not very fresh food. Obviously, as a member of the Water Tribe, you're used to very fresh food that you catch yourselves or that you consume within sort of 24 hours of it being procured. Not the case here. You suspect some of this stuff's been stewing for a day or two, and that probably is a bit of a culture shock for you. And all the while, the Dai Li watch and wait and stay around the corners of the room, keeping careful eye on anyone who comes and goes, and always being followed or accompanied by a member of the Dai Li. I'd say at this point, anyone who wants to have a bit of a look around to judge, get a bit of an understanding about what's happening around them, if you wanted to, we could do our very first roll. One of your basic moves that you can do is assess a situation. If anyone wanted to assess a situation, now might be a really good time to do it. Who would like to assess a situation? Fantastic.
That's fun.
He definitely does.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have no idea what to roll though.
So if you click assess a situation, it should be one of the basic moves that you can click on. But essentially you roll with creativity. So if you want to just roll with creativity.
Okay. Is this it? Hey, oh wait.
Okay.
Yes.
10. Success. Full success as well. Oh, I like that the Roll20 actually even tells us what it is so that I don't have to do any thinking. That's great. I try and avoid thinking wherever I can. I'll just change it so that we can see the actual thing where it says full success. But yeah, full success. Very, very nice. So, Oki, as you have a bit of a look around the room and start to notice, one of the things you spot immediately, the Dai Li, all these Earth Nation agents who are wearing the colors of the Earth Nation, very long flowing robes, one of them sort of pulls their sleeve aside for a second, and you see that their hand looks to be made of stone. And then after a few moments, you sort of realize, no, their hand is coated in these stone gauntlets. Both hands are coated in these stone gauntlets. All of them are wearing these stone gauntlets on each hand, hidden beneath the robes. And you can actually see that the robes themselves have a number of rocks sewn into patches on the inside. As they sort of move their hand out and readjust, you can now see the inside of the robes has lots and lots of rocks positioned in it so that they could immediately earthbend specially sharpened rocks whenever they needed to. That probably would unsettle you ever so slightly, I would say.
I think she's probably got the cork from her waterbending canteen is probably quite close to her left hand kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
she's sort of not so certainly just repositioned it slightly. Not that there's
Absolutely.
enough wine flowing through these tables for her to have ample to bend with.
Yeah. So the way that it works with this situation, so I've kind of answered one of your questions because I set this up. We're all still learning, but you actually get to ask 2 questions. On a 10+, you get to ask 2 questions. I guess like I've answered one of the questions, which is like, what do you notice about the Dai Li? Do you want to ask another question?
Yes, okay.
Any question you want that sort of
Probably-
relies on perception.
Like feeling unsettled by the Dai Li and noticing that they are like particularly armed.
Yeah.
I think she would probably do a bit of an extra glance around and see like, all right, where are the entry and exit points? Where are the windows? Can I break through this window? Where is an extra source of water? Like sort of that kind of defensive thinking.
Absolutely, yeah. So the nearest door is actually quite close to where you guys are seated because you've been positioned furthest away from the main stage where there's been performances all night. Obviously, as the children and families of the politicians and dignitaries, you're not as important as your family members. So you've been positioned quite a way away at the kids' table, let's call it. The nearest door is right behind you. You're essentially right next to the door. Windows, not a lot of windows. There are a number of skylights that are being positioned above. The roof itself is sort of 7-8 meters high. It's quite a large room that you're in. The roof is quite high up, and each of these skylights is easily sort of 1 meter by 2 meter rectangular area. So quite large skylights. So if you could get up there, you could escape through the roof if you needed to escape, if that was your question. But you notice, looking up over the roof, there are Dai Li patrolling the roofs as well. Catch a glimpse of one of the large large circular hat as it walks past, as one of the members walks past the skylight up above. That probably would give you a bit of a pause, realizing that most entrances and exits to this location are pretty heavily guarded. Any other questions? No, that's your 2 questions. That's enough.
I was gonna say, I might have to have like a little look around as well and get a feel of things as I'm sort of sitting down, or.
Yeah. Do you want to assess the situation as well?
Ooh. I was feeling like assessing the situation. I'm doing a bit of assessment, sort of. See Okies. I'm just sort of sitting there in my chair, just pulling off a bit of chicken or something like that, and it looks well cooked. I'm like, nom nom nom. Yes, protein. And just going,
Jesus.
Yeah, gotta get swole. Sort of, gotta make sure I'm always getting my gains in.
Exactly.
But said like Oki just sort of reach for her bottom, like, what's she so concerned about? Tromp, look around. I'd like to assess the situation on these firebender types. See.
Ooh, yes, indeedy.
What's going on here? You know what I mean? Just see her looking around. I'm suspicious. Do I just roll a DC?
Roll with creativity. So just click roll with creativity, and it should roll 2d6s for you and add your creativity bonus.
Ah, sweet. So I click that on my
character sheet.
Is that on the
And
little...
it all should be integrated and all should be working according to the legend who made this Roll20 pre-filled sheet. Whose name
Who was
I can't
that?
remember.
Oh my gosh.
Whose name I can't remember. I will.
Negatives.
It wasn't me. I didn't make this.
Negative minus. Just. It's got input value 0 plus.
Oh, so have you not given yourself stats yet, Brandon?
No, I did. I thought.
no.
I thought there was some I didn't have to.
No, you got to give
I've
it.
got,
So the way
I've got a 0
This is
for
good.
creativity.
we get a little bit of a behind the scenes now. So here is how you create your character. So you get essentially the way it works is you are given a set number of basically your bonuses, and you get to allocate them where you want. So I'll quickly put it open here. I believe from memory. This is good. We get to like teach you how to make your characters. So for those of you who are interested in playing,
It's a +2, 2 +1s, and a 0.
thank you very much.
Welcome to the tutorial session.
Welcome to session 0. Where Brandon's camera every 30 seconds goes pink and pixelates him. So I'll just
I
keep
don't know
refreshing.
I don't know what's happening.
No, it's alright.
Looks good
It's
here, but over there.
I know, no. It's what's it called? It's OBS who does this to me.
The economy.
OBS streams. Yeah, the economy. Yeah.
Rich.
So did you want to figure out? So basically, I think you're playing the Guardian, aren't you? So the example
Yeah.
guardian has a +2 to focus, 0 to harmony, +1 to creativity, and +1 to passion. If you wanted to follow that for the example, you absolutely can.
I'm missing the +2 to focus. That's what I was doing.
Oh.
0 creativity, 2 focus, neg harmony,
Perfect.
1 passione.
Absolutely.
Wait, is it 1 1 -1 0?
Yeah, 1 1 -1. Sorry. Yeah, ignore me.
Sorry, that's my bad.
That's okay. We're all learning,
I don't know
everybody.
where it
This
got
is
picked from.
all.
Hang
So
on,
do,
sorry.
do I have to have a 1 in creativity or just leave it as 0?
So you can have it however you want. I was just telling that there's an example one that they provide, which.
I'm
What
highly
was your
focused
question,
there.
Dave?
So it's a 1 1 0 and -1 in whatever attributes that it gave me a standard array. And
Yes,
I just went with that.
that's
Is
correct.
that
Yeah, that's what it
enough,
should
or
be.
is there stuff on top of that?
No, that's what it should be. Sorry,
Yeah, cool.
I said a wrong thing. There we go,
Oh,
everybody. My
I-
first wrong thing. Let's keep a
I
record
heard
of it.
+2
Technically,
and started drooling. So.
Growing
Yeah.
this together.
Yeah, exactly right.
Right.
That didn't take us long to fuck up. Fantastic. So, 5. That's a failure. Fantastic. This is great. We get to describe what a failure does. So, a failure for assess the situation. Nothing happens. So, as you're looking around, Brandon, your character, Rung Bolo, you are too distracted by the food, probably by just how delicious the food is. So, because for you, this is your cuisine. This is Earthbender, Earth Nation cuisine. This is what you're used to. You've probably had 1 or 2 drinks as well. Being sort of over the age of 16, you do have access to ales and wine and things like that. So you've probably had 1 or 2 drinks. And being a younger lad, it has hit you a little bit harder, perhaps, than you were expecting. As you're looking around, you feel like there's something there that you could be suspicious of, but it's just hard to focus on what it is, and you don't really take anything away from that of any import. As you
Probably
enjoy.
nothing to worry about then.
Probably nothing to worry about. Our 2 Fire Nation members, so that's Shurva and Mako. Would you like to describe what you guys are doing? So you guys are actually the only 2 people who know each other at the beginning of this campaign, so you've come together. So I assume you guys are sitting together in that case, or Shurva, are you like standing behind and leaning over Marco and occasionally like grabbing food and tasting it for him to check it's not poisoned? Or
I'm standing slightly behind him, and I'm cautiously passing him a flask of hot sauce under my robe.
Nice, I like that. Now, are you trying to do that stealthily, or are you just owning it?
Oh, I'm just owning it. I don't care if they know the food's shit.
Fantastic, awesome.
Good.
They can
Awesome.
know.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like handing over the hot sauce, not really focusing
Yeah.
on anything at all. Yeah, you do get a couple of disapproving looks from members of the serving staff and wait staff who, as they walk past, sort of look at you and go, tisk, 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 under their breath as they walk past
I
you.
glare back at them.
Ooh, do you want to try and intimidate them a little bit?
Sure.
Stay away from you to stop this tusking of your. Okay, in that case, could you please roll with passion to intimidate, as we learn how this system works.
Passionately intimidate someone.
Passionately intimidate someone.
Let's see if this.
3. That's not a great roll. So as you sort of like glare at them, you go to adjust and wipe your eye a teensy bit, not realizing that in the process of picking up the hot sauce bottle, there is a little bit of hot sauce still on your finger. And as you begin sort of glaring, the hot sauce kicks in and you find that you have to squint as tears begin falling down your face, turning you from an intimidating sight to more of a pitiful sight as they give you a wide berth, not wanting to associate with the Fire Nation bodyguard who's just like silently weeping from the hot sauce in the eye.
It's really funny you say that because my hay fever has kicked in and my eyes are actually watering right now.
or is this real now and you are becoming your character?
It's too real, man.
It's too real. Yeah, I quite like that. That's pretty funny. In that case, let's jump over to Marco. What are you doing, Marco?
I've taken the hot sauce.
Yep.
And just applied it to my food generously, like
Yep.
making sure it's got enough tasting it.
Yeah.
Going to hand it back, and seeing that my guard is now crying.
Yeah.
Intimidating.
I would say this is fairly unusual.
Intimidatingly
Shurva.
Quite
crying.
Not very
concerned
intimidating,
about what's
cry.
happening, but also a slight chuckle underneath, like, just to the side.
Yeah, I
And
would
I
say this is
also-
fairly bizarre for Shurva. This would be one
Yeah.
of the only times you've ever seen Shurva weep at all.
Can I
Shurva,
hit him across the back of the head?
It's
for
also
laughing
going
at me?
in a mental. It's also going in a mental note to remember.
yeah.
for
Do you
next
want to?
time.
Do you want to actually call? Do you want to call him out, Bree? So one of the balance moves you can do is you can call someone out to live up to their principles. So in this case, if you feel like Andrew's character Marco is not living up to his principles, if he is failing to live up to his principles by being a dick to you, would you like to call him out?
I would very much like to do that.
Okay, so you get to shift your balance away from center. So the way that Avatar works, is this RPG system works, is you are balanced between two different ideals. Could you tell me what your ideals are? I believe it is tradition for the Guardian. I think it's
Just tradition.
It's.
Because Rung's seeing you guys fighting now. He's like, this isn't very guardianly.
Oh, sorry. Self-reliance and
Each other.
trust. Yeah, sorry. So for the Guardian, your balance is between self-reliance and trust. They're your two different, basically the two opposite ends of the spectrum. I think this is moving your balance towards probably self-reliance, because he has let you down with this act by laughing at you. It's breaking that trust between you, that bond. So I think if you could move yourself towards self-reliance by one step. And Andrew, you've been called out. Marco, your character's been called out. So roll with principle. So if you could please roll with principle, Bree. And we're going to see if he has to act as you say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
I think we're doing a
So
pretty good job
roll-
of showcasing the way this works, actually. I'm feeling a lot more comfortable with this than I was
I'm
30
really bad at
seconds ago.
this.
5. Roll 20's not being kind to you tonight, Bree.
Ooh.
No.
That's only failures you've
This-
rolled
this-
tonight.
No.
So,
Look how
what
cranky
happens
he
when
looks
you
as
roll
well.
a 5? Because you failed on a miss, Andrew, Marco can actually demand that that Shurva acts in accordance with one of your principles instead, or Shurva can take a condition in this case. And I think the conditions are the way that you track kind of like not hit points per se, but it's one of the ways you can kind of track the way that your character's feeling and acting in a situation. So in this case, what do we think the condition would be? And Andrew, do you want to think about how would you like Shurva to act? Do you think Shurva should be taking this as more of a joke, or how do you think Shurva should be acting?
Definitely more of a joke.
Okay.
Gotta have a little bit of fun in your life now and then. Not everything's all serious all the time.
Okay. So Shurva, you have a choice. You can either accept what Marco is saying and take that on board and try and act in a way that Marco is suggesting, or you can take a condition. I think given that he's calling you out for being too serious, I think the condition that makes the most sense is feeling foolish. I think if you feel, or actually no, I reckon angry. I'm going to say angry. I think you would be angry at this situation. In fact, I'm going to give you a choice. You can choose between angry or foolish if you don't want to follow what he's telling you to do.
I think I would be angry.
Okay, so you're not gonna do what he says. You're gonna take the condition angry. Perfect.
No,
Okay, so
because if I've just made a fool of myself, he's laughed at me, and I've gone to hit him across the back of the head for being a smartass.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Wow, lighten up." I'd be like, "All right, you little shit. Tell you what, protect yourself next time someone comes and tries to hit you."
That's it. Absolutely. I think that makes a lot of sense. In that case, so you can tick the angry box on if there is an angry box on your character sheets. If you would like to tick
Wait,
the
where
angry
is
box,
that?
it's one of the conditions. I believe.
Oh, I found it.
You found the angry box. So
-2 to comfort or support and assessing situations.
yeah, because you're angry. How good's this?
Oh my god.
Amazing. And last up, our airbender, Arl.
Yeah,
Arl.
Al's like stuffing his face, and he's just watching this, and he's thinking to himself, "Oh, this is how the Fire Nation acts." Yeah, he's just enjoying his food. How close is the closest Dai Li person to him?
Oh, only 2-3 meters away.
Yeah, okay. So he's just turned to the Dai Li person, and he's like, "Oh man, this tofu cabbage raisin salad with hot sauce dressing is great. Like, do you want some? You're not eating."
No, sir. I am here to stand watch.
Come on, you
participate in
can't
the
stand
feast.
watch if you're not eating. You have to be strong. You need food.
That sounds like you are trying to persuade or plead with an NPC. In this case, I'm gonna. So the basic move is plead. I'm gonna say that this also includes persuading an NPC as well. Would you like to try and persuade this Dai Li agent to come and eat with you?
I would love that so much.
In that case, I need you to roll with harmony.
Ooh, I have a +0 to that, so that's good. It did not roll. 1 second. Oh, yep. Plus. That is a 6.
6. A 6, unfortunately, is a failure. It'd be great if we could show off what successes look like in this campaign. That'd be sweet if we
This
could roll.
Nah,
Yeah. So you roll a persuade. The Dai Li agent. There's a moment, where you think you might have persuaded him, as you've got like this tofu dripping down your chin, holding out a spoon that's covered in lettuce and noodles, and you've sort of got like a dumpling in on the other hand that you're like half biting out of and then offering it to them.
Motioning to the hot sauce.
Yeah. Motioning to the hot sauce. The Dai Li agent sort of looks at you a bit sort of quizzically and goes, "No, I'll be fine. Please enjoy the feast, sir." Backs away, hands crossed, straight ahead, ignoring you from this point onwards.
I think I'm going to try a move. As a bold person, I have the ability to do straight shooter. Do you want me to read it out to you?
Yeah, please. We're all learning, so let's read it out.
I
When
keep
you-
imagining you're saying you have no hair. I just want to make that clear.
Oh, fuck me.
I think as an airbender, he wouldn't though, would he?
All right,
I
I'm just
have
taking
like
a
a bit of. Sorry.
bit of chin fluff.
Yeah. He feels like he's becoming a man, and he hasn't shaved for a very long time, and he's hoping
Oh,
to grow it
no.
out, but it's really just like a few fluff
Bum
here and there.
fluff.
But he's very proud of it.
Oh god. I do like that we got the bald joke out of the way. I'm going to mark a condition for the DM. The condition is angry. Just gonna mark it right now with that pun. Fuck you.
Well,
There's
yeah,
a table
based
of
after
angry
me.
people over there.
So
It's
straight
based
shooter.
after me, and I am balding, so like
Yep.
that's why I wear a hat. So when I write down to write notes, you can't see my bald patch. It's not very pleasant for the.
Oh,
cameras.
Dave. I now feel
Um,
guilty. Mark that condition.
When you tell an NPC the blunt, honest truth about what you really think of them and their plans, roll with focus. I don't know. So in their plans, I don't know if that counts. I just wanted to tell them what I think of him.
Yeah.
On a hit, they'll look upon your honesty favorably, and they'll answer a non-compromising question honestly or grant you a simple favor.
Yeah.
On a 7
okay.
to 9, they return the favor and give you an honest assessment of yourself. Mark a condition. On a miss, you're a bit too honest. They're either furious or genuinely hurt.
Great. I can't see this going poorly at all. If you would like to roll,
Neither
with
can Al.
focus, please, Al.
Yep.
You guys have all been rolling pretty significantly high numbers, so I'm not worried about how this is going to go at all.
So I was like, man, adults are never any fun. What changed? When did you be like this?
Shit. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Let's see it.
That is
7.
7.
Okay. So what does it say about 7 again? It says that they do give you an honest opinion of you, basically, right?
On a 7 to 9, they return the favor and give you an honest assessment of yourself. Mark a condition.
Okay. An honest
Again, face
assessment.
stuff with food. Holding the food
Yeah.
out, girl. Just wanna-
The Dai Li agent looks at you. Your table manners are unbecoming of a dignitary. You should not be here. This is not the place for you. You are an embarrassment to your nation and your people. Have some respect. If you would like to mark feeling embarrassed, I think is the condition. Let me double check.
There's insecure. There's
Yeah, foolish or insecure. I will let you choose out of those two.
I guess he looks down and he's holding the fish as his mouth is full and just like
a bit of like cabbage just drops out,
and he just eats more to fill that empty void.
Got the empty void inside.
Can relate.
Just you've been next to me. I'm just like give you a pat on the back, like don't worry, brother. Not all conversations go good. Just gotta own it. I'm just getting my little napkin. I'm just like getting the bits of cabbage off, you know.
All right.
You're right, man. You'll get the next conversation. Don't worry, I'll help you out.
Fantastic. As you guys are sort of finishing up that conversation, okay, have we? Yeah, we did. You did the assess the situation. That's good. Oof, I remember there. I thought I'd skipped a player. As you guys are sort of wrapping up these events happening, you hear the sound of a large gong being smashed from somewhere on the upper levels of the large balcony over the top of the stage that marks the end of the performance piece that's going on. A number of dancers using silk ribbons to some beautiful schwarm music. And as the music sort of wraps up to a close, an unfamiliar figure to all of you steps onto the stage, dressed in a very elegant, traditional Earth Nation style suit with long coat tails, flowing green coloration with sort of dark green patterns and that very familiar circular symbol on the chest. A man with very dark black hair, very bright, vibrant green eyes, and a little bit of a almost like a chin strap, but no upper facial hair at all, just the chin strap beard. Quite harsh, sort of angular features, steps onto the stage. I would like to thank all of the members of the various nations who have come here today to meet and discuss the unfortunate demise of Avatar Roku. Avatar Roku served our nation and all nations for many, many decades. His loss is felt by all, especially those friends and family from the Fire Nation. And he gestures over towards the Fire Nation delegates, and there is sort of a bit of almost like a sort of a look as everyone sort of turns towards the Fire Nation delegates, quite heavily armed, a bit of a military style presence, not looking particularly emotional at the death of Avatar Roku. There's a moment of assessment going on in people's minds as they look over and focus before turning back to the speaker. As you know, the Avatar cycle begins again. The Avatar will now be a member of the Air Nation. At this time right now, somewhere in one of the 4 temples, a baby has been born, our new Avatar. Until then, it is up to us to protect and watch over the world until he or she is ready to assume the mantle of responsibility. As you are all aware, the appearance of the large comet in the sky is a cause of great concern to all nations. What we hope to achieve over the next 2 weeks of meetings, how the nations will work together to face this grave threat, and how we will identify the new Avatar. We will need to pick trainers from each of the bending nations to help prepare this new airbender for their life of service to our great nations. I would like to thank the Dai Li for maintaining watch and care over the guests. Please follow all directions from the Dai Li during your stay, the very generous stay, the Beifong estate. And there's a bit of a clap and applause, confused as it's sort of tagged onto the end of this not so subtle message to follow the directions of the Dai Li, sort of changing at the last second to just a call of congratulations for the Beifong. It's a very sort of weird meter of conversation. For now, rest. Prepare yourselves. Your rooms are ready. We will meet again in the morning. And for those members of family who are not participating in the meetings, the children, he points over towards the table where you guys are all seated, and the entire hall turns and looks at all of you. Is that what you do, Ali? You just start dancing? Oki just starts dancing and...
Yeah, it's like, yeah!
Woo! There's an awkward pause. There's an awkward pause, and like one of the serving people goes like, "What a trap!" and then realizes.
Spurt water in the air.
You see, like one of the water tribe guardsmen who has a ponytail and shaved head goes, "What a trap!" Yeah. To all of the children, we have some activities prepared for you to entertain yourselves while the adults deal in important matters. Try not to get in the way of these matters. Please enjoy your stay. And remember, The walls of Ba Sing Se are open to all nations. Then he does a bow, there's a sort of smattering of applause, and the man heads back off stage and disappears, never introducing himself, who he is. The Dai Li in particular, really going for the clap, and all of you can now see the large stone gauntlets that all of them are wearing, clapping very, very loudly as this man sort of steps off the stage. And with that, the dinner wraps to a close. Your relevant family members? I'm going to stand by that. Your relevant family members come over. Sometimes improvisation is... look, I try my best. Sometimes the words don't quite work. Your close relatives come over. Your relatives and family members come over and basically collect you. You are taken by the Dai Li towards your rooms where you are staying. The way that it's been arranged is this large square. This large courtyard has a square of rooms around it. These are basically like large bunks for many people to come and stay, and each of them has been designated to one of the 4 nations. So earth and air across from each other, fire and water across from each other, and the banners of each nation have been hung on each of these wings so that it's very clear where you are supposed to go. You are directed to your rooms, and you are all able to have a long night's sleep if you would like to take a sleep. If there's anything you guys wanted to do, yes, Dave, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, could I pocket the hot sauce from the table because it was so delicious?
You pocket the hot sauce. Just to clear this up, is this the hot sauce that Bree and Andrew were enjoying? Or I should say Marco and Shurva. Shurva?
It's also the hot sauce that Al was enjoying as well in his salad.
Oh, okay. So I don't think they would have. Well, let's check. Would you guys have shared your hot sauce with a member of the Air Nation?
Oh, was it not just like on the
no?
table?
So Shurva had her own hot sauce she handed to.
Although Marco could have put it on the table, and then while I was
laughing at
lecturing him, Al might have like slipped it over and poured some on his salad.
Yeah, I'm going to say that absolutely that could have happened. In that case, Al, I think you're not trying to be sneaky, are you? You're like, oh no, you are, because you know this is wrong.
I just want more for later, and I don't think there's anything wrong with taking it. So,
okay.
It's like when you go to a convention and they have those gifts on the tables, and you take 2.
Okay.
One for yourself,
you go to
and
a
one for your
hotel.
friends.
You go to the hotel and you just take all their little tiny packets of jam. You're like,
As
"It's
a
all
month,
mine."
right?
I want all the shampoo. I never use hotel conditioner, but I want to have 16 packets in my wet case at home. Okay.
It's great for
When you
when I
go to a
never go
hotel
camping.
and you take the doona and the pillows and you know.
Wow.
Wait, you're not
That's-
meant
that
to.
is
I think that's
that's
just
neck.
stealing at that point.
That's neck level.
Remaining toilet paper.
What do you think Al's doing right now?
The TV on the wall.
I like to scrape the paint
Ooh,
off
DVD
and
player,
collect it in a little
complimentary.
jar.
This nice painting, I'll take that as well.
Yeah, I like to scrape the paint off the wall and like punch out some holes and take the door with me too. Okay, so in that case, I think I'm going to get you to. I'm going to say rely on your skills and training. Could you please roll with focus for me?
I sure can. Did that roll? That is a miss. Is it adding my +1? It's not adding my +1, so that is a 7.
Oh, is it not adding your +1?
Yeah, it says 4 + 2 when I put my mouse over the 6.
Oh. 4 + 2.
Right? It's
yeah.
not adding my...
Are none of your
Yeah.
bonuses being added? Uh-oh.
Oh. Nope.
Have you added them into the...
Well, I did the starting stats, so I assumed that was going to do it because it says choose a stat, then add any stat on top of that. But let me try on the
done?
thing. And it was focus, was it? Yeah, it was. Let me try again.
It's
this
added
time
that
it added.
time.
Yeah. So the starting stats
7 both times.
icon means nothing. It's just the numbers in the boxes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's sorry. Yeah. And you can also click the basic moves as well. There's a basic move reference, and you can actually click on those as well. So when I tell you to rely on your skills and training, you can actually click on that, and it will say focus, and then you can submit, and it should roll with focus and give you a. There we go.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, I see. But it has. So then you have to make sure you select. No, look, just roll with the standards because I think you then have to input it separately. So if we go to rely on skills and training, use focus, +1 -1 forward. So if we go 1, does that work now? Yeah, I see. Okay, Oh no, focus is 0 for you, so that's perfect. No, so that's working perfectly. Okay, so yeah, so you can actually just do the basic moves too, and if you click on the drop-down arrow, it actually tells you a little bit more about them as well, which is really cool. Man, this character sheet's amazing. None of you can see this though because I haven't got Roll20 open on the stream. We'll show you next time. So let's take the 7. So a 7 is a partial success. So as you basically go to pocket this hot sauce, none of the Dai Li notice you, but one of your elders does. An older woman with the large arrow tattoo, shaved head, wearing the very elegant robes. You suddenly feel a hand on your shoulder as Taka, one of your elders and teachers, places a hand on your shoulder and goes, "Ah, we have discussed what is right to take and what is not. Our ways are not to own, but to share."
Oh, but like I'm taking it. This monk Gyatso at the temple would love this. He loves spicy food. I'm taking it to share.
Monk Gyatso is not the role model I would have you aspire to. His methods of pie flinging at the masters is troublesome.
It's an art.
It's an art.
None can match the fluffiness of his cream, it is true, but I would hope that you would aspire to more than just mischief.
Did I come by with like half a chicken and be like, "Oh, we're gonna share a bit of this chicken together later on, just for bulking up for my little brother here. Give like a little bit of an elbow to him."
Help. Okay.
So we're gonna help him out here.
Yeah, you're helping him. Okay. You can, so he gets a +1 to that, which turns it into an 8, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. She sort of gives you a bit of a look, Rungbolo.
Chicken.
I'm eating it on cabbage, if that makes any difference. Taka?
You spotted the issue, which is offering meat to an airbender.
Yeah.
Just,
I was gonna eat the chicken with him while I ate the cabbage, but we need hot sauce for this to work. Don't ask too many
Indeed.
questions or think about it.
Please put the sauce back on the table. I don't want to have this conversation with you again.
Okay. Al puts the hot sauce on the table and walks away with the cabbage, chewing on it.
Just a cabbage.
The lettuce leaf. I mean, I imagine they're not serving cabbages, so I imagine it's just like cabbage. in the salad.
there's a dude, an older gentleman. Oh no, he'd be really young at this point. It's a really young man pushing a cart full of cabbages just round to the tables and just handing out cabbage. My cabbages! No, that does not happen. Yeah, I'd say that like as you're leaving, you quickly grab like a handful of like salad. I do have an origin story for the cabbage man. I've already got that organized. You have to have it.
He walks past Marco and it's like, "Thank you."
What?
And, like he's walking. He
Marco?
says thank you, like quietly as he
To the
walks past.
firebender.
Oh, sorry, to
Wrong bolo.
wrong bolo.
That's okay. When she was distracted by you, I still got to keep the chicken.
You feel a little tap on your hand. It's like airbender high five to you.
I've just realized. Is your name Wrong Bolo short for Wrong Boulder?
Why not? Yes.
Okay,
I was
sure.
that
It's
creative.
now.
It's now.
Wrong
Or is that
order.
creative?
I'm going to use that. Write that down.
Sorry, it just occurred to me. Yeah, so with that, you will head over to your respective areas. Now, our 2 Fire Nation members. You are brought into the antechamber before the bedrooms, where there is a rough stone table and chairs that have clearly been earthbended for this occasion. The telltale rough edges of it is a dead giveaway that some earthbenders just gone, fucking firebenders, minimum necessary effort for your furnishings. So as you sort of step in, you see, Marco, you see your father is standing there looking over some documents, looking a bit concerned and stressed. And as he sees you come in, Marco, he nods and goes, "Son, Shurva, I thank you for turning and keeping decorum during the evening. You didn't get into any trouble, did you, Shurva?"
Of course not, sir.
Yeah, well, you're not lying. So sort of he
Yeah.
looks at you a little bit confused as you say that in a very odd way and goes, "Right. Well, I I was just preparing for the meetings tomorrow. I understand you were interested in our position on the comet and how that was going to affect our standpoint heading forwards. Obviously, our nation's power and wealth must be shared with all nations. We are dealing with a time of great prosperity, great power granted to us. I was wondering... Obviously, yes. I was wondering, my son, you have proven to have good instincts. Do you have anything that you wish for us to discuss tomorrow? Any positions you think would be worthy of our nation? This is a test. Please, if you need some time to think.
Yes, I will need some time to think. But also, what seems to be troubling you?
Nothing that you need concern yourself with. And you see
sure?
as he... Oh, okay, yeah. You see as he says that, he sort of looks down, clearly not telling you the truth. Yeah, you say, are you sure? Okay.
Yep.
I think this could fall under a persuasion to see if you could get him to talk a bit more. Would you like to roll with harmony for me, please? Or passion. I would actually argue that you could roll with passion for this. Look at that. We're already going to start homebrewing how this entire system works. It was only inevitable. So let's roll with passion or harmony. Your choice.
Did that work? It did
Oh,
work.
no.
Oh, and it mucked up. Don't worry. It's meant to be a 5.
Okay. Oh, why does it roll with +2?
Instead it's meant to be a 7.
No, I would have noticed because I'm hovering over now and checking.
Yeah, I checked it. I was like, that doesn't seem
See,
right.
I think it's rolling as red. Red meaning fire
Red's
nation.
good, yeah, fire.
So
Red
realistically, it isn't really a failure.
Nah. We're like
Hmm.
meant to be leaders, we're...
Yeah, okay. What I'm going to respond to is cut the bullshit, or I'll cut your feet. No. Bit of an escalation, I'll be honest. Not quite where I was intending to take it.
And
Just
suddenly
say
the fire nation has been
feet or
wiped
feet.
out.
Yeah. The earth bear, a meteor strikes the land. No. So what your father says to you, Marco? No, nothing you need to be concerned about, son, I promise. Just a new set of directions from Fire Lord Sozin. Not how I thought we were going to be approaching this, but I guess our stance has changed somewhat.
Still as leaders?
Yes, of course. Yes, absolutely. Just interesting change of stance.
Hopefully
Tell
for
me
the
something.
better.
Had a chance to ponder. Is there anything you think that we should present to the summit tomorrow?
Unity? That we should all...
Yeah. You watch as his
work
face...
together.
Watch his face sort of darkens a little bit, his eyebrows coming together.
With us,
Right.
with always us the top, obviously, but nothing too... We don't want to alienate people.
That we do not. You better get some sleep, son. It's going to be a busy day tomorrow. I imagine the delegates, the Dai Li and the members of the Beifong family will be keeping you rather busy. All sorts of activities. This is a good opportunity to assess your abilities against the other nations, to test your mettle. I hope
Obviously
that you will do me
above them.
proud. Well, we shall see, won't we? And Shurva, you will make a report in full tomorrow for how my son performed in the activities. I expect nothing but perfection.
Of course.
You may retire, the both of you. I have some more work I need to accomplish before the evening's done. And with that, he waves, dismissing both of you quite casually.
I
Yeah.
leave puzzled. I walk away puzzled and concerned.
Oki, your greeting back with the members of your water tribe is far more warm and far more encouraging. At least until the drunker members of the delegation begin to continue their rowdy drinking into the evening and begin sort of singing drinking songs, very unbecoming of delegates of the water tribe, the northern water tribe. These are mostly the minor dignitaries, the newer members of your delegation. my question is, are you joining in with the revelry or setting yourself apart?
Probably a bit of both, actually. So I think what Oki's plan is she's sort of seeing these other delegates in a bit of a less than intelligent sort of state, and she would like to try and sort of get some information, or sort of be like try and work her opinions into their brains, sort of like a, hey, you should teach me how to fight. You know, your army's got a really good, you know, you've got this really good reputation. I reckon you could probably teach me a thing or two about combat waterbending, like. And so she's sort of like trying to like egg them on, trick them into like getting them to teach her something, because she's just so desperate.
Would you like to roll with creativity to try and trick them?
You certainly would.
Do it. Or plead to you. A 12! That's a full success, basically. Okay. Finally, some successful rolls. So, due to the inebriated state of these minor dignitaries, one of the waterbender warriors, a younger man by the name of Bosco, who has been relatively lax in his training, but does know the basics and has a pretty good handle, especially on ice moves and things like that. His real specialty is the ice bending, basically converting water to ice into different shapes and things like that. That's where his specialty lies. He's like, as the group are joking and like, yeah, absolutely not. There's no way we're training you. He sort of pauses and sees them getting a bit rowdy and notices some of the senior members coming over. He sort of gets up and moves over to you and goes, if you've got yourself 10 minutes, we could go aside and have a bit of a go now if you want. I'm happy to show you a thing or two.
Fuck yeah. She puts her arm down, Bolto runs up the arm, sits on her shoulder, and she's off.
Yeah, I saw there was a small stream not too far, just outside the compound. We'll have to sneak past the Dai guards, but I mean, that shouldn't be too hard. You've got your water skin with you?
I always have my water skin with me. I
Right.
mean, can we walk around them just on the water?
There's no water inside the compound from what I've seen, and we've been encouraged not to leave in the evening, but we could just use the water skins. Maybe there's a well or something around here. We could have a bit of a look. I assume they get the water somewhere.
Hey,
if
Bolto.
you don't feel comfortable leaving the compound.
I mean, it's probably not a great idea to make an enemy of the Dai on our first day, but they've got to have water here
Yeah.
somewhere. And we also have our own water skins on us. Hey, Bolto, can you see if you can track down a well for me, buddy?
Bolto goes and then skitters down your arm and begins sniffing. Could I get you to roll for Bolto? So I think Bolto is going to be using focus for this. You can use your focus for this. So just roll 2d6. Actually, I'll add a plus for Bolto. Okay. Bolto begins sort of moving off towards an area in the very center of the compound. You can see that the very middle of this large open area has a stone basin set. And as he sort of gets there and begins sort of skittering around and digging at the dirt, it seems like this basin does hold water, but right now it is empty. But you can see there's a tube, a plug hole essentially going deep into the earth below. Do you think there's water down there? Should we try bending it up? Push pull?
Let's give it a go.
All right.
She's just like, yeah, let's. Is there like a plug or something, like corking it,
No,
or
it's
is it just like an open
just
hole?
an empty hole. So Bosco goes on one side and begins sort of pushing and pulling the water backwards and forwards, and you start to hear a bit of a gurgling coming from the drain. Do you want to roll with skills and training? So that would be with focus.
Focus.
Focus. 3. You are not much help at all. Bosco, as you're sort of doing this, you're essentially working against Bosco for most of it. And there's a point where he just goes, it's probably best if you just stop what you're doing. Okay, if you could just step aside for a moment, I can get the rest of this. And as he sort of gestures you aside, he eventually fills the bowl with water, pulling it up from the earth and then sealing it with a vial of ice, a plug of ice at the very bottom. And you now have a bowl of water to practice. And then, over the next sort of 15, 20 minutes, Bosco will show you some ice bending techniques. Now, this is how I make myself a quick icicle. And he sort of like spins his hand, flicks up a section of water, freezes it, and then flings it forwards into a pillar. Now you try. We are going to be
she's doing
pushing
her best.
your luck. Could you please roll with passion? 11. Yeah. You watch as Oki, first time, Oki, something about this ice bending really clicks for you. This is what you were meant to do. And before too long, you have basically a section of icicles. You can conjure up about 3 or 4, have them rotating in the air in front of you, and you can fling them out when you need to.
Oh my god, this is so cool!
It's probably best if you keep your voice down. I'd rather not get in trouble for teaching you masculine techniques. You know what I mean?
I mean, I can teach you how to heal if you want.
I'm not that interested, to be honest. That's what we've got you for. Why would I need to learn how to do that?
Yeah.
I can just click my fingers and get one of the women to come and heal me.
To be fair, I'm not very interested in it either, but yeah, whatever. And she's a little bit disappointed that, like, the one friend that she thought that she'd married turns out to be a dick.
He's not a dick. He's just a product of his upbringing. And from what we know of the show, after 100 years, the Northern Water Tribe are fairly sexist. I imagine 100 years prior, they were equally as sexist minimum. So that's the baseline I'm working off. Yeah, absolutely. I think we sort of touched on what happened with with Arl, with the stealing of the hot sauce. So I think what we'll do is we'll have you guys head to bed. You get a good night's sleep. You may reset your conditions. Your conditions are healed by having a good night's sleep. So any conditions that you've accumulated, you may now reverse and put back to normal. And I believe you also get to move back to balance. Let me double check. We're all learning a brand new system of how this works.
How was the chicken bolo?
What was that? Sorry,
chicken.
It was good chicken.
In fact, you reset your condition by smashing that chicken. That's basically all you need to.
It's just need good old protein and a workout.
I feel really hydrated from this cabbage.
Just feel really
Not that
hydrated.
much moisture out here. Where'd they go with that water?
Oh my god, amazing.
I've always been told not to go to bed angry, but I guess having to look after Marco, I'm used to it.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like sitting there seething as Marco's in the same room as you, because you have to sleep in the same room, like near the door to overlook him, and he's just going. You're just sitting there quietly,
like glaring at him
seething.
in his sleep.
Yeah, if you were a firebender,
Bed's-
like smoke would be coming out your nose right now from like just sheer rage. But
Surprisingly,
unfortunately,
the best sleep I've got in a while.
such a shit. Amazing. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure from having a rest. I'm just trying to find the thing on rests because we're still learning how this system works. I think from rest you reset all your conditions. I'm gonna say for this one you reset all your conditions anyway, so that we can start you guys off nice and fresh for the next game. But yeah, you've reset all your conditions, and you can move back to your central balance as well. Bree, if you wanted to move back to the center point of your balance, you can regain balance.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense to start you off in a really good position for the beginning of the game. Now, that might be where we wrap up our little session 0. We've had a bit of a chance to get an idea of how it works. We've had a little bit of a play around with it. I think what we might do is next session, with our session 1 with the story, we'll jump in, we'll do our full session, and I think this is a good chance for us to take off immediately with the games in the morning, and then we can move on to the actual consequences and storyline after that. So that'll be really good for starting that all next session. So what I need from each of you lovely people now is for you to say the name of your nation. So Dave, obviously you'll say air. Brandon, you'll say earth. Ali, you'll say water. I'm still tossing up whether to say skill or have both of you say fire at the same time. Part of me thinks that could be kind of cool, having you say fire at the same time. So I'm going to record both, and then we'll have a bit of a play around with it, Andrew and Bree, if you like the sound of that. So,
Yeah.
Cool.
In no particular order. Actually, I think I was going to start with Earth. So Brandon, could I get you to say Earth in your best Avatar Last Airbender style voice?
Okay.
Oh, sorry, hang on. Let me pause the music because I want to get this without any music in the background. I just want to get the...
The music was
Alright.
beautiful, by the way.
Thank you very much. That's a recomposed version of 14.3 billion years from the video game The Outer Wilds. I recomposed it for.
I need to
Avatar
play that
Legends.
apparently.
It's a really good game. Okay, so Brandon,
Earth.
beautiful. Dave,
Air.
amazing. Ali,
Water.
alrighty. Andrew, just Andrew for fire, and then I'll get both of you to do it.
Fire.
Okay, both of you on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Fire.
Fire.
That was really good. You guys nailed it. And now, Bree, could I get you to say skill?
BDSM. Oh, sorry.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Oh.
Whips, guys. Whips.
It's true.
No. Skill.
Fantastic. Beautiful. And that is what we'll have for our little opener. I've already got the music ready for that. The whole intro music. I've done a recomposed version of it that's just different enough that we won't get into trouble with Twitch. I've just literally reversed the order the notes going. So rather than going down, it goes up. So we'll get away with that, I think. Alrighty. And then my little intro that I'm thinking is going to be, for the longest time, the 4 nations have lived together in harmony. But with the death of the Avatar and the coming of Sozin's comet, the world now faces an unprecedented challenge. Embers on the horizon. Embers of conflict. And I think just a nice, quick, sweet introduction. And then can I get each of you now in order? So Dave, can you say like your name and your character's name and the nation that you're from? Or maybe say that you're an airbender. That'd be really good, actually.
Hang on. There were too many instructions there.
Sorry. So say your name, say your character's name, and say what you're playing. So you're playing an airbender, essentially.
Dave, Monk Al from the Air Nation. I stuffed that up. Okay.
That's
Let's
okay.
go one more time.
You can say, hey, I'm Dave, if you wanted to as well. You don't just have to say Dave.
Okay, yeah. Hey, I'm Dave, and my character is Al, the Airbender from the Air Nomads.
Fantastic. Brandon?
Do you want to say it wasn't my name and then that? Double check.
It's
Awesome.
hard, right?
Sweet. Hey, I'll do this for a living. I'm Brandon, and I'm Rung Bolo, Earth Nation, Earthbender.
Fantastic.
I don't like that. Let me do it again.
Okay, sure. You can do it again. Absolutely.
Earth Nation, Earthbender.
And I'm an Earthbender from Ba Sing Se. Yeah, go on. You can go again.
I'll do it again. All right, cool.
If you want to. Up to you. It's your introduction.
Why not? Give it a crack. I'm Brandon, and I'm Rung Bolo, an Earthbender from the Earth Nation.
Fantastic.
Okay, I'm happy with that now. That's awesome.
Okay. Bree?
Cool.
It's like I'm laughing at all you guys when you're stuffing it up, and then I go to do it, and I'm like, wait, what?
Not so easy, is it?
What's my name again? I can't remember my name.
You
What
can
is my
say,
name?
for the streamers, I should say as well, if you want to say, I'm Bree, also known as Pixel, and I'm playing, absolutely. Feel free to give yourselves a shout out.
Okay. My name is Bree, also known as PrettiPixel, and I am playing Shurva, a warrior from the Fire Nation.
Fucking nailed it. Andrew.
Hey, I'm Andrew. I play Marco, a firebender from the Fire Nation.
Fantastic. And Ali.
Hello, I'm Ali, and I'm playing Oki, a waterbender from the Northern Water Tribe.
Fantastic. And I'll do me. And I'm Owen, the dungeon master of this ragtag group of members of all 4 nations. Done. Sweet as. Alrighty. Ragtag group. Because you're not really like a team yet. You'll upgrade to team, I think, hopefully by the end of book 1.
Some sort of ragtag team.
Some sort of
Hopefully
ragtag
by
team.
the end
stirs.
of like 2023, we might be a team. Like
Maybe. I think that's pushing it, honestly.
Oh,
if
yeah.
Andrew doesn't start the 100-year war before then.
He's-
Miscommunication. Misunderstandings
does
from both
seem-
sides, I think.
Fairly keen on getting that bad boy up and running, doesn't he?
I've got a feeling
Mm.
something bad's going to happen to Dave. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna live
Omen
forever.
of
I'm gonna
sorts.
light the sky like a flame.
I sense something
Oh my
elusive. Oh my god. Alrighty. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for our session 0 of Avatar Legends RPG game. I hope you have enjoyed yourselves. I think we're ready to rock and roll with this. I was worried this would be a bit more of a hard style to get into, but I say that after reading it through, I was very confident that we were going to be okay with this. It's a really cool, streamlined system. I think this is a much more approachable way to get into role-playing games than D&D 5th edition. I'd actually say it's a much more streamlined way to get into any D&D games, especially like 3.5 or 4. It's way easier than those. So if you wanted to check it out, yeah, exactly. If you wanted to check out Avatar Legends role-playing game, you can do so on Kickstarter, or you can check it out at Magpie Games as well. It's called Avatar Legends, the role-playing game. Otherwise, if you just type in Avatar, The Last Airbender RPG, I guarantee this will be the first result on Google. The Kickstarter did very, very well, and I know they are accepting late pledges. There is a quick start guide that you can get off their website at Magpie Games if you wanted to give it a go as well. That's what we're running off as well, plus some extra stuff from the Kickstarter. As the game comes out in full, we will be adding more things as well. So I know there is a rule set that adds the avatar into it and how you could play as the avatar potentially. Obviously, we're not doing that because one of you will be playing as a 1-year-old. Well, no, you'd be playing as like a 1-week-old. Obviously, we're not going to do that. But for the future, that could be pretty cool to play with.
I don't know. I've heard some of your voice acting. You could do a 2-year-old.
You could do a 2-year-old. Like that? Is that what you're asking for?
I shall get out and protect him.
Airbending slice. Yeah. So we
Just Jack.
yeah. Oh god, I said Jar Jar by accident. Then I only just pitched it up at the last second. It was going to be like, airbending slice. Yeah. So we will all be back next Monday for our very first session. This was just a session 0. So if you are not listening to this, if you've skipped this, then obviously you're not hearing what I'm saying, so it doesn't matter. But thank you for joining us for our session 0 anyway. We will see you guys all again next Monday. Stay safe, stay well, and see you guys later. You can say goodbye, so you don't have to sit there silently if you don't want to.
Take care down, yeah.
Because this is also recorded as a podcast, so remember that at certain points people can only hear you.
Is this what I do?
So for podcast listeners, I will train them. It's their first time doing a podcast. I'll train them. Don't worry. They'll be ready by by next week. Bree's got a whip. That's all we need. I can get them all going. Awesome. Thanks so much, everybody. We will see you all later. Stay safe, stay well, and farewell.
Bye.
Goodbye.